And now for the mother of all feminist factoids. Women earn 77 cents for every dollar a man earns for doing the same work. Now, no matter how many times this wage gap claim is decisively refuted by economists, including feminist economists, it always comes back. The bottom line, the 23-cent gender pay gap is simply the difference between the average earnings of all men and women working full-time. It doesn't take into account differences in occupation, positions, education, job tenure, hours worked per week. When such relevant factors are considered, the wage gap narrows to the point of vanishing. Now, wage gap activists will say, no, women with identical backgrounds and jobs as men, they still earn less. But they always fail to take into account critical variables. I mean, why play this game? Now, all of these reckless claims are nearly impossible to correct because armies of advocates, journalists, political leaders, they depend on killer stats to promote their cause. And I guess there's also an admirable human tendency to be protective of women, and stories of female exploitation are readily believed. But killer stats undermine good causes, and they send scarce resources in the wrong direction. My advice to women advocates, take back the truth.
At the request of the United States Department of Labor, the CONSAD Research Corporation prepared a report entitled An Analysis of Reasons for the Disparity in Wages Between Men and Women. It was released on January 12, 2009 and published on the Department of Labor's website. The research was extremely thorough, and to the best of my knowledge, no subsequent research has done a better job explaining the wage gap, and no subsequent reputable researchers have found anything that contradicts this report. Charles E. James Sr., the Deputy Assistant Secretary for the Federal Contract Compliance, signed the Department of Labor's foreword that was attached to the research. As the Secretary states, the differences in raw wages may be almost entirely the result of the individual choices being made by both male and female workers. In conclusion, as Christina Hoff Sommers pointed out, there is a small gap between what men and women earn. However, when adjusted for being in the same profession and having the same education and similar work experience, that gap is not 70 cents on the dollar. It's somewhere between 93 and 95 cents on the dollar. But no one can say how much, if any of that, is due to discrimination, because, as the researchers point out, there could be many other causes for the difference, such as inaccurate tracking of work experience and job tenure, just to name a couple of the reasons. So the actual earnings gap between men and women due to gender discrimination that has been proven by our best statisticians is zero. There is only a possibility of some gender discrimination. At most, it could account for an unknown portion of 5 to 7 cents on the dollar. Think about it. Wage discrimination has been illegal since 1963. If employers were breaking the law, why aren't there ambulance chasing lawyers on television looking for all of these women that are being cheated and discriminated against? Also, if you were in charge of a corporation and you could hire a woman for 77 cents per hour compared to a man for doing the exact same work, why would you ever hire a man? You wouldn't.
Today, women make up about half our workforce, but they still make 77 cents for every dollar a man earns.
It's sad that President Obama and these other politicians are lying to you to get your vote. But it's time to grow up and accept the fact that you were duped and that you should never trust a politician or a lobbyist, especially if it is a feminist lobbyist. If feminists were truly about equal rights for men and women, why do they continue to lie about the wage gap? If every woman was paid that 23 cents more, they would be earning 16 cents more than men for doing the exact same work. It doesn't matter what the dictionary definition of feminism is. Feminists do not support equality. They just don't.